Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. So, we finally on the second week of May, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, or third week. But we had amazing news. And for that, we have a guest speaker today, the one and only Luz Core, one of the preferred lenders from Cal Hafa. So, hi, Luz. How you doing?
Hi, Edwin. How are you?
Good, good. Super happy for our clients. We already got like few texts, few calls from the clients that they did got an amazing news yesterday. So that's the reason of today's live. So we want to share all the good news. But please present yourself.
Yes. Hi, Edwin. Thanks for having me. My name is Luz Yuncor. I am Cal Halfa's preferred loan officer. And we're super excited to announce Dream for All program vouchers finally released. We've been anticipating this for a few months. We actually got lucky. We thought it was going to be right in the middle of June, which I'm kind of happy it happened now because everyone's going to be checked out for the World Cup, right? so,
Of course.
so this,
And not only that, I have kids still that they go to school. Like my oldest daughter, she's gonna be getting out of
mhm,
school, I believe, next week.
yeah.
So for a lot of people, it's gonna be the perfect time for them to be able to move to another city and be able to use, the voucher.
Yes, I didn't realize how quickly this year is gone. And just this morning, it hit me too, because my daughter's almost at the end of her school year. And I'm thinking, wait, it's already the end of May, right? So, yeah, definitely summer. It's going to be a hot month for home buyers to start searching for properties. And we have about 2,000 people out there searching for a home this summer.
Amazing news for all those clients. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. We were talking about
Mhm.
this, I guess, since November of last year. I know January,
Mhm.
February, March, we were doing in-person workshop, a lot of live events, webinars, etc. We were talking about even this was on the news about the
Mhm.
20% Dream for All program. That's a program that will allow you to buy your first home and they will help you with a program and they can help you up to 20% down payment assistance.
Correct.
Okay, and it closed back in, if I'm not mistaken, March 16. That's when the deadline closed. So that's when the last person was able to submit an application. But finally, yesterday, they announced from, I don't know, like
Mhm.
20 people, 20 applicants, more or less, how many people were able to get. Like you mentioned, there were 2,000 people who were able to get chosen. So that's mean now they do have a voucher to go and start looking for
Mhm.
houses. So give us the details. Okay, if you got the voucher, we're one of the winners that we had a few families that we are in contact, so we have to start moving fast. But what exactly are the next few steps? What are the timelines, etc.?
Yeah, definitely. It's super exciting for everyone that applied. Like you mentioned, we were definitely on tour last year promoting this Dream for All program throughout maybe about 8 months. We knew it was coming earlier in the year, and the portal just closed. Right, it was about 6 weeks ago the portal closed, so everybody had an opportunity to participate. And yesterday morning at 10 a.m., Calhafa released the voucher. 2,000 people in the state of California were awarded with a voucher was so super exciting for everybody that had an opportunity to participate. This is our third year participating in this program. We hope that it comes back in the future because just imagine every year 2,000 people have an opportunity to become homeowners with this voucher. And it's a lot of money. It's 20% or up to $150,000 that people are receiving. So it's an exciting time for a lot of our families. I know we have a few families that we're helping together. And of course, the ones that didn't get selected, there's going to be a backup plan for them. And I think the biggest win from this program is awareness. Everybody that's gone through our workshop, that has joined our webinars, that have been in our IG lives, they are now aware that these programs exist, not just to Dream for All, but many other programs in the state of California.
Okay, so yesterday, by the way, yesterday everyone was announced, right?
Everybody, yes.
Okay, so there's, if I'm not mistaken, based on the conversation we had, there's three different buckets. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
of course, the main bucket is number one is going to be the people who got chosen. That's mean you got an email or you can go to the portal. If you haven't checked, please, if you're watching this video right now and you know that you submitted an application, check your email, check your spam email, go to the Cal Have a portal. So make sure you know if you win or you didn't win. But there's three type of buckets. Number one is the people who got chosen. That means they did get a voucher. They're gonna be able to get 20% of down payment assistance up to 150,000. Right, that's the limit.
$150,000, correct.
Yes, perfect. So that's the first bucket. Those are the people who got the great news. This is a second bucket. You know, the people who were not chosen, but were not denied the opportunity. They're going to be on the waiting list. If for some reason the people in the first bucket they don't purchase, expire, or something like that, most likely those funds will probably, we don't know yet, will probably go to the second bucket of people who eventually might be able to have an opportunity to use the program. And of course, we have the last bucket. That's, you know, the bad news for a lot of the families that were not able to get chosen at all. They're not on the waiting list. They're not on the winner list either. So that's mean they have to reapply. If the program comes back next year, 2 years, 3 years from now, they have to reapply again for the program, correct?
Yeah. So if, like Edwin mentioned, if you have not received a notification from CalHFA, please check your portal. It is, you need to go, that's one of the things that people are a little confused about, because if you're on your phone and you're looking at the portal through your app, you're not going to have the information you need from your mobile phone. So you need to go to a desktop if you're not seeing it in your mobile app, and look at the left side of the portal to make sure you're either selected, not selected, or waitlisted. Okay. What that means is that if you were selected, you have a voucher in your email. So look for it. And if you don't have it in your email, it is in your portal. Okay. Once you have it in your portal, go ahead and notify the lender that you're working with, letting them know that you have that voucher to work with. Notify your agent. Just make sure that you're checking the right box. Okay. If you're waitlisted, then you want to just kind of hang tight to see, right, if you're going to get selected or not. 2,000 vouchers were released. Not everyone will use the voucher. There's probably people already bought homes that already received the voucher, so they're going to automatically reject the voucher. So if you are not using it, please go back into your portal and withdraw from receiving the voucher, because that gives you opportunity for the next person to receive that voucher. We have a client on waitlisted on number 4. Chances are that they will receive the voucher, right? So it's not guaranteed that you, as waitlisted, that you're going to receive those funds. But if you're somewhere in the number 1 to 10, I think you have a good chance of receiving that, right? Because there's going to be about 10 people, the 2,000 recipients, that will probably withdraw these funds. Okay, so I recommend to hang tight. Now, there are other programs available for you. So if you're like number 400, 500, and you think, you know what, I don't want to wait a year before my voucher gets released, then I recommend to look for other options available with down payment assistance program. So if you were not selected, I know we don't want to hear that. I had a lot of people say, Lou, that we were not selected. You know, they don't give up on home ownership. There's a lot of programs available that you can participate. There's a backup plan for you. Check with us. Let's run those numbers with you again. And CalHFA programs are available with 3 to 5% down payment assistance programs. And like Edwin mentioned, if the program comes back next year, you're more than welcome to apply again.
Okay, perfect. Now, the people who got the voucher, you know, that's the hot topic right now. How many days do they have to find a house, close escrow? What exactly are the basic guidelines in order to use that voucher?
Yeah. So this morning, CalHFA did release a bulletin on that matter. If you receive the voucher, it does not guarantee that you have a loan approval. Okay. And what that means is that you want to make sure that nothing has changed with your credit qualification and your income. So we need to check the credit again. We need to make sure that the credit's not expired, that your pay stubs, that you're on the job, that you have not acquired new debt. So it's like reapplying again for a home loan, making sure you meet all the requirements that Green for All program guidelines are. Okay. But once we have everything updated and you're using the voucher, you have 90 days to use it. There will be an extension. So you have one-time extension after that. So total, you're going to have 6 months. You're not going to see the extension yet in your portal. You're going to have to wait about 60 days before you're allowed to extend your voucher in addition, one time only. So if you're thinking right now, I'm going to wait till 90 days, afterwards and ask for an extension, my recommendation is for you not to wait, right? Start searching for a home right now. Because what happens is that, one, interest rates are changing. And if you're being quoted something now, 90 days from today, interest rates are up again, you're not going to qualify for that price anymore. So don't wait. I think 90 days is really important. I think it's a good amount of time for you to be able to find a home.
Okay, perfect. So now you mentioned the word extension. So right now they have 90 days. The regional voucher is 90 days. They might be able to get one-time extension of another 90 days. So that's a total of 6 months. For that extension, for some reason, for some families that they take a little bit longer to find a house, that extension, do they extend it automatically, or they have to make sure they go on the portal and request the extension? That's super important.
You have to go on the portal and request for the extension.
Okay, you have to request it. So if you go out and look for houses, and for some reason you're not in escrow within 90 days, make sure you go to the portal. It's not going to extend itself. You have to extend it yourself. Now, correct. 90 days. So this is super important, because keep in mind, we talk about that a lot of kids are going off from school. For us in real estate, the hot season in real estate is usually the summer. Why? Because usually that's when more families are able to move from one city to the next. Probably some families are living in LA right now, renting in LA. Now they're going to be buying in Fontana because of price point, because of locations, etc. Okay, so you're going to have a lot of demand. So on top of that, we have 2,000 families in California who's going to be looking for houses. And to me, experience matter a lot in so many ways. When it comes to lending, when I mentioned at the beginning, you one of the preferred lenders. When it comes to down payment assistance, I will tell you this, me quito el sombrero. You're the best when it comes to that. You know it from A through the letter C. You know exactly the ins, the out, because this is your bread and butter. You do this day and night. So you have that experience. When it comes to CalHFA, when it comes to Dream for All, I know you've been a participant since the first year. So you know how to do the loan. You want to make sure if someone gets a voucher, you use a lender that will be able to close that loan without a hiccup, because you can lose that opportunity. Okay? When it comes to the real estate, negotiations and everything else, experience matter. You don't have a lot of time to say, if it happens, it happens. You have to start looking for houses right away, moving fast. Mm-hmm. On top of that, when it comes to negotiations, your agent has to be able to present and sell that idea to the seller and the seller agent. If you're competing against 3-5 offers, but you're using a down payment assistance, your agent has to have the experience to be able to present and sell the idea of down payment assistance program that loan will be able to close. So when you choose an agent, when you're choosing the lender, make sure you choose someone with experience. We've been doing CalHFA, myself as well, when it comes to the real estate side for so many years. I believe the first time it was back in 2016, 2017. So I know how to present it. I know how to get to the finish line and make sure the offer gets accepted. Okay.
Yeah. And that matters, just to kind of cover on that, we've had experience with clients that were participating on the program last year. And unfortunately, they didn't have good representation for both ends, lending and real estate, that when they came to me, it was already too late. One, they were never fully approved to participate on the program. And that, it's a little frustrating. After someone issued you a pre-approval letter, you enter information in the portal, you get selected, for a lender to tell you afterwards, you have a pre-approval letter that was not valid this whole time, right? So make sure that even if you received a voucher now, that you still meet all the requirements from CalHFA, that your credit score is there, because we've seen it. There's been a lot of loan approvals out there without validating the requirements. So make sure that you are checking to make sure that you're meeting all the requirements with CalHFA. And working with an agent does matter a lot, because you have 90 days to get into a home. So the pressure's on the agent, Once we issue a pre-approval letter, the pressure is on the agent to make sure that they're able to find the right home for you in 90 days. And 3 months go by quickly. You have 60 days to identify the property. 90 days, it's going to be your first extension. If you're lucky, you get your home in the next 3 months. If not, you have another 3 months to find that property, and then that's it. You're done. You lose the home. It's happened to some of our clients.
Correct. And don't wait for the last minute, because you can open escrow last minute and reserve the funds. But if for some reason something happened on inspections, let's say you're buying a property that the seller needs to find a replacement home, and they're not able to find a replacement home, and you have to cancel escrow, you have to make sure that you're in escrow of that home, not another house. That home you're going to be able to buy in order to use the program. Because after the 90 days or the extension, if you cancel escrow and that time pass and you're not in escrow, you probably won't be able to use the program at all. So it's super important. Try to find a house on the early dates. If something happened, house has a lot of damage or something, you have to find another home, you have enough time to be able to jump to another escrow without an issue. Now, you did mention something, like make sure that the credit is still good, because since everyone applied to now, it passed 60 days by now. So a lot of things can change. Job, credit, etc. Now, let's say the voucher is for Maria Garcia, as an example. They qualify for $600,000. Can they add a co-signer even now, even though they were not on the voucher, but one of the person is on the voucher? Can they add or can they remove a co-signer at this moment?
Yeah, you can. So one of the things that did change this third year, in fact, last year it changed for us, is that you could add a co-applicant into the loan, but it has to meet the requirements of the program. Okay, so your co-applicant must have a 680 credit score, right? If your DTI currently is up to 50% because you have a 700 credit score, and now you bring a co-applicant that has a 680 credit score, that's going to drop your maximum debt to income ratio to 45%. Everyone must occupy the home as well. So you can't bring just a co-applicant that's not going to occupy the property. If you want to remove somebody from the loan and replace them with somebody else, you need to make sure that the person that's staying on the loan meets the first generation guideline. That's really important. And remember, just one of the 2 or 3 applicants must meet the first generation. But you could add someone, you can remove someone. You have to make sure that whatever we do, that has to meet CalHFA's guidelines.
Okay, perfect. That's good information. And please contact your lender right now so they can double check the application. If something happened, you have approximately three months plus extension, 6 months to fix that super fast so you can use the voucher. Now, if someone, that might be a little bit rare. If someone are in escrow right now, they just opened escrow recently and they just got chosen, can they switch the loan and be able to use the voucher?
Yes.
It's a tricky question.
Yeah, okay. You can. As long as, you're in contract, we can switch the program. Of course, if you locked in your interest rate. So this is why I want to make sure it's very clear and transparent to the consumers that if you are currently in escrow and you locked in with a low interest rate, which they were a week ago, today we're about 0.5% higher. The Dream for All program, if you look online, you're going to receive today's rate. So you want to kind of make sure to see if it really benefits you to switch the program now. Another thing that I wanted to add on, Edwin, just to make sure that no one forgets that, is that having a voucher for 20% and $150,000 does not mean you don't need any money to buy a home. Okay. You still need money for your initial deposit, for your appraisal, and your home inspection. Okay. Always have an estimate with you. One of the first things that you need to cover with your lender is that what is that 20% cover? How can I use the funds? Am I allowed to bring in additional funds of my own? What is my out-of-pocket cost to buy this home? A lot of times, and a lot of promotion out there with social media and TikTok videos, everyone creates their own standard of promotion for these programs. They're telling people you don't need any money to buy a home, and that is not correct. You still need your initial deposit your out-of-pocket appraisal fee. You could use the 20% or $150,000 to pay your down payment and your closing cost, but you still need to have your initial deposit. So please make sure you're asking the lender for a copy of your estimate for your cash to close. Make sure you know how much money you're going to need before you start looking for a property.
Yes, and the initial deposit, that's with the realtor. So make sure when you call us, let us know exactly how much money you're gonna want to put for the initial deposit. So that way, when we negotiate the terms, we know exactly how to present it. Now, let's switch a little bit on the subject. Yes, one of the lists of people they got selected. The second one, they might be getting selected in the future, but we don't know when. Might be a month, might be 3 months, might be 6 months, might be a year. We don't know when. And a lot of people, they don't want to wait. And of course, the people who were not selected, they're not going to be able to get selected at all. So what are the options for those people who are on the second list of waiting list or the list that got denial? What are the options they have if they still want to own a piece of real estate in the United States?
Yeah. Well, there are other down payment assistance programs. So I would not, feel disappointed. I've had a lot of emails call yesterday with people. We've been nurturing our clients for months now. We've been educating them already. What is our backup plan? Have a backup plan. So if homeownership is your goal, talk to us, call us, ask us the questions. I didn't get selected. What options do I have? We're going to ask the right questions from you. We're going to want to know where you're going to locate. What are your plans? How far are you from buying? Because CalHalfa has programs available for you already. And again, Dream for All program, it's not for everybody. Keep in mind that it's a shared appreciation program. You're getting, yes, 20% down payment assistance, but there are other programs out there. Los Angeles County has programs. Riverside County has programs. City of Anaheim has city programs. So let's find out where you want to buy property and find the right program for you. So don't give up on homeownership just because you were not selected. There's other plans for you.
But one of the most popular programs as a backup option is through CalHalfa, right? I believe it's My Home program. They can help you roughly 5% between down payment and closing cost assistance. So instead of the 20, it's 5% down payment. So that way, if you still want to own a house, you qualify for the house, but you don't have the full down payment, you don't have the closing costs, you can still go into a house and get assistance in order to cover a good portion of the down payment and the closing costs. So there's still opportunities. So don't give up. There are a lot of options. And the good thing about those programs, by the way, is that you don't have to go into like a lottery, right? If they apply, qualify, there's money available 365 days out of the year.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. And any other programs that they can utilize in order to buy a house?
Well, so June is homeownership month, right? So there's a lot of promotion out there with programs. GSA Fade's one that it's allowing not just first responders or nurses to participate on the program next month, that you're actually going to receive a down payment assistance plus a grant. And a grant means free money. So you can get up to 5.5% of those funds next month. It's only for 30 days. So if you need more information about that program, reach out to us, send a message to Edwin, let him know you're interested in other programs besides CalHalfa. But there's definitely a lot of products out there. And kind of going back to a little bit on Dream for All program, Edwin, urgency, it's important. So if you received a voucher and you haven't heard from your lender, you can switch lenders. Right, you can definitely switch to another bank. You don't have to use the original lender. You can have someone as a backup plan to make sure they get you through from A to Z in a 90-day period.
Yeah, or just a second opinion. It doesn't hurt. Like I tell everyone, like when you do construction, you want to make sure you're able to compare in order to see where you're going to get the best customer service, and especially who's going to be able to get you to the finish line no matter what.
Yeah. And I think for me, my experience was for the last 3 years working with Dream for All program, what I don't want to see happen to people is that they run out of time or they were told they were qualified and they weren't. And that it's probably, that is the worst feeling, because I'm so excited for my clients that come in. And it's like, yesterday we're up to like, we were working till 9 o'clock, just making sure we connected with everybody to make sure that everybody was checking their emails or portals. And I remember from last year, the experience that some clients had was that they were never told they didn't qualify. And, they came to us at the end where we had 2 weeks before they open escrow, and that was just impossible for us to be able to service. So make sure, one things that I give everyone advice, make sure you're checking your pre-approval, make sure you're still qualified, make sure that you are working with someone that's going to be able to complete the transaction and the period that you're allowed by CalHFA. And like you mentioned, get a second opinion, right? It's always good to have a second opinion and to see where you're at with your loan.
That is correct. So keep in mind, if you're watching this, if you're one of the winners, want to contact my team or Lucio and Co., feel free to give us a contact. All we need is going to be the information. Of course, a copy of the voucher. Luz will have to check everything. She has to make sure that you do qualify for the program. Now, if you didn't win, the Dream for All, the same, contact us. We can see there's many programs. Trust me, when I tell you there's probably 100 programs available, there are. Dream for All is not the only one. So there's a lot of options, and Luz will do a consultation. Then we're going to see exactly what are the needs, what city you want to purchase. And trust me, she will put you on the best program available for down payment assistance.
Yes, okay? Yes, absolutely. We're here to help you. Anything that we can do, again, you just want that opinion from us, a guidance from us. That's what we're here for. We're more than happy to assist you with any questions you have.
That's the goal. But thank you, Luz, today for sharing your knowledge, that information. And congratulations to everyone who's watching this and they got a voucher. Congratulations. But it's time to get moving, working. I know it's a lot of pressure, but you got lucky. No lo desperdicien.
Yes, thank you very much, Edwin, for having me. One of things I love to share with everyone is that your first step to homeownership is education. So if you are if it's your dream to become a homeowner, reach out to us. We are always hosting webinars in person, also online, with Edwin for the last, I think, 8 years now. We've been consistently educating the community. So join into our next event, reach out to us. We're here to help you, and best of luck to you. And to all the winners, congratulations. There's 2,000 of you out there that are going to become homeowners this summer.
That's the goal.
Definitely.